All right, so Kyle Morgan here at the Blue House. We got Devin with us here. He's onboarding, former 18 Bravo. If you don't know, that's a Special Forces weapons sergeant. That's why we let him handle the guns now. He's gonna be working through building out the Blu Bearing Edition UNIT 4 training rifle that we're coming out with in collaboration with Unit Solutions and HUXWRX, which we'll get to. But I'm gonna just go through from back to front on the items that we recommend as a part of this Blu Bearing Edition rifle. Everything that we're going to talk about is something that we've tested and that we believe in, and that's why we're putting the Blu Bearing stamp of approval on this system. All right, so when you order this Blu Bearing Series Edition Unit 4 training rifle, it'll come just like it is right here out of the box. I'm going to start by talking about the Magpul CTR stock. It's something I've used for the past 15 years or more. I guess maybe even longer than that. The whole last half of my military career and the last 4 years, this is all I've been using as far as a stock. Couple reasons I like this is obviously it has different points of adjustment based on length of pull for me. And then it also has a way to shore it up and lock it in so it takes a bit of the wiggle that you may see in some butt stocks. So that's another extra feature of the CTR. The QD, it's on both sides, so you have it on your support side and the firing side of the stock itself. But one thing of note that a lot of people don't realize is the positioning of this QD point is, whether you go on this side or around the stock, that's personal preference, but it's higher in just underneath the buffer tube itself, so it allows that sling to be really in line, so the pressures that you're able to use the sling to achieve are kind of evenly across, the center line of the rifle itself on the top side of it. So that's the Magpul CTR. The next item is the grip. So the Magpul MOE Plus is what we're putting on this rifle. Why I like this is the grip angle is great, but the Plus gives us the kind of polymer rubber wrapped around texture. So you don't have to add a bunch of tape or grip tape if that's what you may have done in the past. It has that kind of rubberized feel. So with gloves or without, you can really grip this pistol grip. And the grip angle is what I recommend or prefer. Moving forward to the rail, this is a Geissele Mark 14 M-Lok that has the QDs already built into it, has all kinds of points of adjustment that you can add different accessories. And it's a 9.3 inch profile. So this Unit 4 that we're building is a 10.5 inch system. So this 9.3 fits in there and gives you plenty of room for all your different accessories. You'll see here that we have the True North Concepts hand stop, and this will come installed, already on the rail. It's easy to adjust if you need to adjust it forward or backwards. But there'll be a ton of videos that are already out on our Patreon about why and how I set up a rifle, starting from the buttstock length of pull all the way through my support hand position, and then that allows me to place the grip stop in the position that I need, and then I build it out from there with the sling itself. So the brake is going to come out, or the brake that comes with it is just an A2 bird cage. Is that right? And you guys will be able to switch that out for that HUXWRX brake and non-lethal training aid that they've been working on in collaboration with this system here. All right, so before we get into the rest of the build, I wanted to take a moment and just show you guys something that we've been working on and Unit Solutions is developing, and that's the 9.5 inch handrail. Really well made. It's M-Lok compatible. It's got the QD points already built into the rail. And then it's machined really well. It's sturdy. I like the ergonomics of it. This could be something in the future you might see as a part of the Blu Bearing Series Edition rifle, but we got to put a ton of reps in it and shake it out. I'm never going to push something that we haven't had thousands of reps with. But I am looking forward to this rail that Unit Solutions is developing. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Optic riser. Right, some of y'all, maybe you have heard of using risers, maybe you've used them, but the why, I think, is what's missing for a lot of people. So for me, for years, I've always had a riser combo issued to me for my magnifier, and it kept that same fast optic riser height. So for me, it was an easy transition from what I used to run to what's out there in this industry. So Unity Tactical makes a few different versions of this, but the one that we have on here that he's building out right now keeps that similar fast optic riser, or excuse me, that keeps that optical riser height that I've just ran for years. And that's a lot of that's personal preference, but I will say this, keeping your head upright as much as you can, just like we do with our pistols, instead of trying to sync two things up in space, it's the same with your rifle. So instead of curling over completely, and then now you have your glasses, maybe night vision, you're trying to look through the tubes and the optic itself, because technology is there. So now we can passively aim if we needed to, with that little bit of riser height. It allows us to clear it allows us to clear the top of the rail itself. All right, so the next item we're going to talk about is the EOTech XPS-2 Red Dot. As you can see with it out of the box there, the difference between the EXPS and the XPS is just the quick disconnect that the EXPS has and the XPS. So it does make it a little bit taller with the EXPS. So if you're comfortable with that riser height on top of, if you're comfortable with putting that EOTech on top of that riser height, the XPS, just know the difference between the EXPS and the XPS. So what we're showing you here is the XPS-2. The 2 just means that it has that same reticle with the 1 minute of angle center dot, and then the ring with the steady lines at the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. And it's not, the 2 means it also doesn't have a night vision mode, which in reality, for everything that we do domestically, you can just turn this optic down to the lower setting, even at night, and still use it to passively aim without it projecting a lot of backlight onto you. Whereas the NV mode, which would be the 3.0, allows you to take it even to where you can't even see it with the naked eye. You can only see it under night vision. Don't really see a lot of application here domestically for that, so that's why we're recommending the XPS-2-0. So the other aspect of an EOTech versus other optics, there's tons of great optics out there, but the holographic side to the technology that EOTech's worked through over years and years of really just being the leading optic manufacturer in holographic weapon sights, allows you to, if you break, one piece of the glass, you could still have that projection. Your head can be in different position, and if the dot's there, it's there. But also the magnification piece of this. So if I magnify this holographic sight, it doesn't change the minute of angle of the dot. If I magnify a LED emitter, it magnifies that times a 3, right? So if I have a 3 by behind this and it's already a 2 minute of angle dot, I've now at 100 yards increased it from a 2 minute to a 6 minute angle dot. So just understand why you're using what you're using, and that's why we go with the EOTech holographic sights. All right, so the next item is the Surefire Scout Lite Pro. So with this, you got a ton of different options. I've been running Surefires for a long time while I was in the Army, and I'm sure Devin did as well. The Scout Lite Pro, what I really like about this is the form factor. Based on the positioning of where we put it on the rifle, you'll be able to see how Devin mounts this thing, and then how it attaches to the M-Lok directly. But then it also allows you to roll it out of the way or into that kind of 45-degree position to allow for a really good support hand position without being, whether you're bracing against something, you don't want your light sticking out too far. So I try to put it into that 45-degree rail position, and this allows me to do it. Tons of accessories for this thing as far as pressure pads and even heads for the light itself. You guys can go on their website, they have vampire heads, so you can have that IR illuminator as well with the Surefire Scout Lite Pro. All right, so the next bit we're going to talk about is the pressure switch that we're going to use to activate the Surefire Scout Pro. So this is the ModButton Lite by Unity Tactical, which could be confusing to some of y'all, but just if you look this up, you'll see that there's a drop down to be able to get this lead for the Surefire Scout Pro. Really like this design because it's nice and compact. It's just a temporary on. There's no like always on button. So my thumb just rests, and my support hand thumb just kind of rests on that button. And when I need it, it's always kind of there. And then if I needed to keep the light always on, then there's other accessory tail caps that you can get that could activate that for you as well. This is the 4.5-inch lead. There's a couple options, but this is the one that we're going to recommend. The next bit we're going to get into is something we've been working on in collaboration with HUXWRX and Unit Solutions. So that is the Flow non-lethal training aid. It mirrors and mimics the 5.56K. Right, as you can see right here, it's got the same profile, the same threading that you'd be used to if you had the 5.56K Flow, and but for your non-lethal training aid. So this mimics the same weight and then length profile as your normal suppressor would be, which is a massive add-on to any of the training we do. So when we're doing simulations trainings or simulation training with this system, the only thing that we had to work in collaboration on HUXWRX with is the bore diameter. So you'll see that if you're using this with this Blu Bearing Series Edition rifle, the HUXWRX muzzle brake that they're going to send you is bored for the diameter of the round in this system, so which is 8 millimeters. So you cannot put a 5.56 muzzle brake on this thing, on the Unit 4, and it work correctly. So HUXWRX has designed this in collaboration with Unit Solutions to fit this system. All right, so the last thing that we're going to show you guys is the Wilder Tactical Minimalist padded sling. This is my favorite sling that I've encountered over the years, and the why behind that is it's not just the Minimalist 1-inch nylon here, and it's capturing itself on itself, so it's nice and clean. You don't have a bunch of extra, the excess just kind of dangling. You have to like stow it with Velcro. It captures itself on itself, and then you just make all your adjustments by taking out all the slack to fit you and your body, right? But then this piece of the sling I really love, because it adds a bit of that kind of rolled diameter to it that actually kind of goes nice and smooth across your back, and then there's some rigidity to it, so it doesn't get stuck behind a tool or whatever, and then you get hung up, if you're lazy with your sling. All right, so we just put together the Blu Bearing Series Edition Unit 4 training rifle. We're gonna go zero it, and then we're gonna put it through its paces, but it'll be coming out soon. And you guys, if you got any questions, obviously hit up Unit Solutions, hit us directly up at blubearing.com.